All right, well, thank you. Good evening. This public hearing is being held for the pending Cafra individual permit and freshwater wetlands general permit application submitted by GDMS Holdings LLC for a proposed residential and commercial development located at the existing Eagle Ridge Golf Course in Lakewood Township, Ocean County. My name is Ginger Kopkash. I'm an assistant commissioner with the Land Use Management Program at New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. I am the hearing officer today. This evening we are providing an opportunity for public comment on the Cafra individual permit and freshwater wetlands general permit 6 applications. NJDEP file number 1500-04-0005.3 CAF 17001 and FWW 17001, submitted to the Division of Land Use Regulation for authorization to construct 936 residential housing units consisting of 390 duplexes and 52 triplexes, 936 basement apartments, community centers, a retail facility with 243 parking spaces, a clubhouse, and associated amenities at the Eagle Ridge Golf Course in Lakewood Township, Ocean County. Under the pending freshwater wetlands general permit 6 application, the applicant proposes the filling of 14,941 square feet or 0.34 acres of freshwater wetlands for the construction of the development described above. Our role here today is to conduct this hearing to obtain supplemental information from the public on this permit application. As such, no decision has yet been made regarding this permit application. If you wish to speak, you must indicate so on the sign-in sheets placed at the registration desk in the lobby. Now I will discuss the procedural aspects of this hearing. The purpose of this hearing is to gather public comment from anyone who wishes to speak. Any action taken by any person that prevents the public from commenting is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. Anyone who violates the following rules of conduct may be removed from the hearing. There can be no signs mounted on sticks or otherwise attached to an object are allowed within the auditorium. No food or drink is allowed within the auditorium. Please remain seated until called forward to provide comment. No interrupting when somebody is speaking. No unruly, disrespectful behaviors such as yelling, chanting, applauding, use of foul language will be permitted. Testimony will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker, and if time permits, I will allow people who have something more to say to come back up again. Please note that this hearing is neither an adversarial proceeding nor a contested case hearing. Persons who speak will not be sworn in as witnesses, and cross-examination will not be permitted. People will be called to comment generally in the order in which they registered. However, it's the department's practice to allow public officials to speak first. Any public official who has registered to speak and wishes to speak at a specific time, please so advise us. The department will not be responding to questions today. The legal and technical complexity of the issues raised and our need to allow time to all who wish to comment make it impractical to answer questions in this forum. However, the DP staff will be listening closely to your comments and will consider all comments and questions in its review of the transcripts of this hearing. Where your concerns or comments are not clear to us, we may ask for clarification so that we can best consider your comments as we review this application. We appreciate you taking the time to come here today. Please focus your comments on this project as only relevant comments will be considered in our review process. In order to ensure everyone who wants to speak is given the opportunity, we ask the speakers to limit their presentations to 3 minutes. You will see a timer at the front of the room that resembles a traffic light. The green light will be activated when each person begins speaking. The yellow light will indicate approximately 1 minute remaining. When the light changes to red, please conclude your remarks. Should anyone have insufficient time to address issues, or should anyone think of additional issues after the close of this hearing, you may submit your comments in writing by May 24th, 2017. The DEP mailing address and other relevant contact information and important information about this hearing is listed on the hearing fact sheet available at the registration desk in the lobby. Speakers who have prepared written comments are asked to leave a copy in one of the baskets labeled public comments on either side of the stage. Anyone who wants to speak should have indicated so on the sign-in sheet. Sign-in sheets are placed at the registration desk. All speakers, please note when your name is called, come forward, state your name, and spell it for the benefit of the stenographer. In addition, state your affiliation, that is, you're a resident, a mayor, so on. We are ready to begin this hearing. First, any public official may speak, then we will begin to receive comments from the public. And please excuse me if I mispronounce your name, I apologize in advance. Dave Roberts. Dave Roberts. Oh, sorry.
Good evening. My name is Dave Roberts. I am the township.
Can you spell it for the record,
Sure,
please?
sorry. R-O-B-E-R-T-S. Thank you. I am the township planner of the township of Toms River. I'm here this evening with Councilman Jeff Carr, who is the chair of our township land use committee of the council. We're basically here to express our concern, but specifically with regard to the location of the application in terms of the type of development and the fact that it is in our it is listed as a coastal fringe planning area under the state plan. The Township of Toms River has gone through an extensive process for plan endorsement, which the Township of Lakewood has also gone through about a year prior to us. And the issue of plan endorsement goes through a lot of public process, a lot of public hearings, public input to identify where growth should occur and where it should not occur. The fact that this particular property, which is on the border of both Toms River Township and Jackson Township, was not identified as a growth area, and in fact is remaining as a coastal fringe area with a impervious surface coverage of 5%, is indicative of the fact that throughout that process there was a consistent determination that this would not be an area where growth would be appropriate. And also in looking at the way that the coastal rules and in the administrative code define coastal fringe as being areas where agriculture and recreation should be more appropriate and that where growth should be of a low density. The fact that this is a golf course, which is completely consistent with that policy and now is being proposed for higher density development, is of concern to the Township of Toms River, especially given its location on the borders of several of our existing neighborhoods, such as Calamar Estates, Walden Woods, and Lake Ridge, all of which border portions of the property, which is of substantial size, and the development of which would have, we believe, an impact not only in Lakewood but also in Jackson and in Toms River. So those are the main points of concern. I would note that the Lakewood Plan endorsement process started with the pre-petition in 2005. It concluded with a determination of conditional endorsement that was formalized by a resolution in February of 2016. So 11 years of public process, and I believe that it should be held to that same standard of all of that public input. And that would be our comments for this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Frederick Carroll. And just so we can, I can help people keep moving, Ann Richardson will be next.
Want me to spell my name?
Yes, sir.
K-A-R-O-L. And I'm at the Fairways at Lake Ridge. So, well, good evening, everyone. I'm here on behalf of the different communities that are unable to speak. My presentation has a simple title, but yet a powerful message. This is Core Habitat. I want to give this presentation on behalf of those communities that are unable to voice their concern in opposition to proposed environmental changes. Each day, their voices surround us with melodies that uplift our spirits. They share a symphony of unmatched sounds and praise of daily living. These communities represent the diverse bird populations and wildlife that have chosen Eagle Ridge as their habitat. Please reflect with me on the behavior of our friends. The high-flying hawks continue to monitor the approach to hole 15 as they search for their noonday meal. Foxcubs continue to scamper across the fairways on many of the holes nestled along the pines. The deep guttural croak of the resident frog by the pond on hole 12 reminds us he has already staked his claim to this location. Mallards may be seen beside the pond on hole 5 as they prepare to make their daily march to neighboring homes. Where does our inventory reside that identifies the multitude of species that share our golf course? Each day they give us pleasure, song, and respite. They demand so little in return. Will their only reward be do not enter signs stating premises are no longer available? Eagle Ridge, assisted by the New Jersey Audubon Society, entered many years ago in a partnership with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to partake in a habitat restoration project on our course. Since 2010, over 500 different species of birds, including bald eagle, eastern meadowlark, purple martin, and blue grosbeak, have been observed on the property, as well as numerous reptile, amphibian, and mammal species. Eagle Ridge represents a large tract of open space that is considered the core habitat area of the Lakewood community. Critical foraging and nesting habitats are available on the course to a variety of migratory birds. Golfers continue to come forward to say they've never seen so much wildlife here at Eagle Ridge compared to other courses. Dennis Parker, former course superintendent, offered some relevant comments. You may have noticed that there are some new bird houses on the course. And I see from the light here that I probably can't can
How much longer do you have?
Oh, I just have about a minute and a half, something like that. Is that all right?
Go for it.
Okay. You may have noticed that there are some new bird houses on the course. I'm happy to report that Eagle Ridge has been very successful in attracting eastern bluebirds to our course. I've never seen so many in one place. The new houses have been put up to help accommodate some of the species that have made Eagle Ridge home this year, while not crowding out the bluebird out. Also on the course, along with the large number of newly hatched mallards in the ponds, we have at last unofficial count as many as 9 foxcubs. With any proposed construction, even the birds and wildlife will be smart enough to leave Lakewood.
Can you please refrain from that? It's just taking up time for people to speak. So I gave, excuse me for a minute, I gave this gentleman some additional time to wrap up. I won't do that if we spend so much time clapping. This is about collecting public comment. Clapping is not collecting public comment. Maybe we can wait to the end to applaud everyone who got up in front and spoke, okay?
Just be a moment. After any proposed constructions, the expectations of the wildlife populations would no longer be realized. Amphibians and reptiles will encounter a not welcome poster sign. We've recently changed the designation of the pit between holes 3 and 4 from a lateral hazard to environmental out of bounds. This was done to prevent damage to the plants growing on the banks of the pit. And I thank you very much for the extra time, and thank you.
Sir, you want to leave your written comments in my basket?
No, I put it together before you leave it.
Okay, thank you. Ann Richardson. And then the next speaker is Robert Miller. And once again, if we take up time applauding, that means less time for public comment. Thank you. Spell your name for the record.
Ann Richardson.
You want to spell your name?
Richardson. I'm from the Jackson Township. I grew up here. Time and time again, I've watched everything being torn down, streams covered and filled in. Water's a way of life for both humans and animals. When Lake Ridge was first developed, from what I understand, they couldn't build because there was a sand pit that used to fill the Garden State Parkway. They were under construction. It was originally a landfill. Then Lake Ridge came in and wanted to develop. The golf course that's there had to be there because underneath that ground is the Lakewood Township dump. It's been there for years. That's why you see the pipes in the ground that come up from the fields. Let's see. I guess that's about all. I just, I can't, it's gotten to a point where you live here, you love it here, and yet they come in, they destroy everything, they want to own streams. I've seen it near my home, they've torn out trees, even if there's water under the ground, they just don't care anymore. And DEP really needs to look into a lot of these that are being applied for and come out and see for themselves what is out here on a lot of different locations. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Miller.
Thank you all. I appreciate that you're here tonight. I appreciate that we're having a hearing. This is very, very important to everyone that's here, including the state of New Jersey, because if you start in one place and take away all the property that people need to live on, then eventually what happens, you have nothing left. There's overpopulation in the town, and aside from that, we have huge environmental issues with the golf course. I'm sure I'm not telling you something you don't already know. You're the professionals. I'm really surprised that we've gotten to this point. We should have thrown it out a long time ago, because it's a landfill. It's endangered species. It's a wetlands. I'm not an environmentalist, but I certainly know that much about it. I've done my research, and I'm sure you've done too. So, I appreciate you being here, and I hope that my words don't go void. And I thank you so much, and have a great evening.
Before you walk away, that's N-I-L-L-E-R, just to make sure. Yes. All right. Tolly, I can't read the first name. Towli? Okay.
Good evening.
Spell your name.
Towli, Towli, first name Andreas,
Andreas.
and you want the address, 71 Sunrise Court in Lakewood? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here tonight because I have concerns as well as everybody else here, not only about the environment, about the loss of birds or snakes and trees, but the quality of life for us. If you look around, we're all retired, hard workers, grandmas, grandpas, we enjoy Lakewood. Many of committees and/or clubs in the Lake Ridge and also in other fairways and other adult communities, we're concerned with our neighborhood. We have a men's club, we have a women's club, we have a Hebrew club, an Amici club, and what they do is they raise funds. They have food drives, coat drives. We recently raised money for a dog for the wounded warriors. So we're caring people. And it's not as if we're trying to keep anybody out, but to allow this to happen, it's going to be a travesty. Most people here, they moved in because Lakewood, Toms River, Jackson. I have my children living in Jackson Township. We moved in here for a clean environment. The trees, smelling of the fresh air. Most people that moved in from inner cities just to escape the stress. But what's happening, if you allow this thing to happen, you're talking about, I don't know, maybe about 3,000 people living in a golf course that was built for a golf course. It's going to add to the pollution, stop and go traffic on Route 9, on Cross Street. You just can't move. Unfortunately, the cesspool politicians we have in Lakewood, they don't care. They just want to keep building and building and high density. And I wish, I really...
Excuse me. You're taking up his
That's
time.
okay. I'm just about finished. And, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to our concerns. And again, we moved to Lakewood because we enjoy the lifestyle. And this is changing right now. And if you allow this building to proceed on the golf course of all places, I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Mike McLaughlin.
Evening. In mid-March of this year...
Can you spell your name?
Yes, I'm sorry. McLaughlin, M-C, capital L-A-U-G-H-L-I-N. First name Mike. In March of this year, a letter was sent from the Assistant Director, Division of Land Use Regulations, to the applicant. This letter went on to detail issues and concerns regarding the application as it was submitted. The letter stated that the department had conducted a preliminary analysis to the permit application and determined that the project is not designed in accordance with the coastal zone management rules. The following concerns were identified in this letter. Questions with the utility provider's capacity to provide water and sewer service to the development. The property was previously part of a larger development known as the Fairways. The entire development site must be considered in the impervious and vegetative cover calculations. The applicant has not demonstrated that removing the conservation restriction from the preservation area is in the public interest. Based on the information provided by the division's reviewing biologists, the site has endangered or threatened wildlife, and the rule NJAC 7.7936, there can be no adverse impact on these species or existing habitat. It appears that the submitted traffic impact study does not account for the total number of proposed units. An off-site parcel is proposed to be utilized for the vegetative cover requirements and needs to be included as part of the site when computing the required impervious cover and vegetative cover calculations. The construction of the development will impact areas that meet the definition of steep slopes. Some of the slopes, which are associated with the wetlands, threatened and endangered species habitat and forested areas. The submitted compliance statement has not sufficiently addressed the avoidance and elimination of development on these areas. Additional information is required to document the construction of sewer main extensions along Cross Street. Also, the following issues were identified by the division's engineer for compliance with New Jersey stormwater management practices. In accordance with the stormwater management rules, if the design does not meet the requirements of the NJPMP manual, the design will need to be reviewed and approved by the Department's Division of Water Quality. It is determined that the permeability rate and elevation of seasonal high water table was not calculated and should be measured at this location. My question here is, have these concerns been addressed? Has the applicant answered? And when the applicant does in fact answer, which I'm sure they will have to, is the public going to get another opportunity to comment on these? And I'm wondering what has pressured us to move this along, since an application is obviously not submitted correctly and is missing information. Why do we have a hearing? Maybe we should have another one.
Thank you, sir. Barbara Saltzman, and then the next is Vic Melillo. Okay, sorry. I apologize.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Barbara Saltzman, S-A-L-T-Z-M-A-N. My husband and I are residents of the Fairways, residing at 18 Schoolhouse Lane. We moved here from Bergen County 17 years ago to enjoy our retirement years in this lovely community. Our home is our most valuable possession, and it is one that we will spend our remaining years in. We chose this community for the peace and tranquility it had to offer. Our plea is not to allow the building of 1,800 homes, 936 with basement apartments, to be built on the Eagle Ridge Golf Course. This would cause such high-density housing that will eliminate deed restricted tree-safe areas, destroy acres of open space, and create housing where an old landfill exists that currently has pipes in it. And what about the volume of approximately 2,500 cars entering and exiting on Cross Street? As it is now, the residents cannot use Cross Street during certain hours of the day due to all the schools and buses that are on it. You cannot enter or exit from any side roads, for example, Faraday, Newport, Nyman, to name a few. I am concerned that the quality of my life and the value of my home will be diminished significantly if this project is allowed to go forward. The impact of the proposed development of over 1,800 homes, along with retail space with over 2,500 cars or more, will have a horrific impact on the traffic in this area, notwithstanding the environment and pollution. We respectfully request that you do not subject us and our community to more needless construction in the southwest section of Lakewood, Maine, Eagle Ridge Golf Course.
Thank you. Next is Jan Crush.
Vic Melillo, M-E-L-I-L-L-O from the Fairways. Since we only have 3 minutes, I'd just like to say hundreds of trees were already cut down this year on Fairways number 17 and 19, and also on the 5th fairway. And what they're doing is they're cutting these trees down and they're grinding the stubs down to make it look like it's chopped wood there. Another thing, I got to talk fast. On the fifth hole, I saw a picture of houses being built over that lake that's there now. There's 3 lakes on the 27 holes of golf. 8 of those holes cover the 3 lakes. Now, you have migrating birds that come every year, and even though we don't like them, the geese and all, they make a mess, but they do migrate to these lakes here. Now, a lot's been said about the density of the golf course and the amount of people coming in here. What I don't see is how is it possible to put houses on a golf course that has a high water table? Right now, today, from 4 days ago, the rain that we had, right now you have sand traps that are here and waste areas that are filled with water. They're not drained. The golf course, I got to talk fast, the golf course closes, you're using a golf cart on the fairways when ever there's a rain the day before or a heavy rain, because they do not want the golf carts getting stuck in the mud and ripping up the fairways there. Now, I don't know if you know about it, but 10 years ago, the fairways were so bad that and the lakes rose so high that there were fish in the fairways. They closed the golf course down on a couple of holes. We had to use ball retrievers in the fairways to get our balls on. Now, I know what I'm talking about because I played over 200 rounds of golf a year for the past 17 years, and I live on the golf course, and I've been a member there. The 17th fairway, let me put it this way, every 9 holes of golf have 4 holes that you cannot ride on with a golf cart, either because it's dangerous or because it gets too wet to ride on with a golf cart. Especially number 17, which is near the railroad tracks, that's been closed forever. Because even with a light rain, you're walking in mud over here. How can that support a house? And you have other golf holes that are similar to that on the golf course, especially number 12. I don't know if you know about it, but they dug trenches on number 12, similar to a French drains that you put in your house. And they ran for over a few hundred yards in each direction. That water is getting pumped from number 12, going up the hill, across number 15 fairway, up the hill into the waste area. When it gets up into the waste area, the water, when it finally trickles down, goes on the left-hand side of number 24. When it comes out, you have an oil sheen that comes out and goes into the woods. And that's what. Also between number 3 and number 4, there's a highly sensitive area there that